Good morning, Ginny the village girl here. This morning being a Sunday and during quarantine, it has become our tradition to bake something every Sunday morning. So today I want to make cinnamon rolls, and I just realized that I don't have yeast, so I am going to make use of baking soda, bicarbonate of soda. And my ingredients are 3 cups of flour. uh, you can sieve it. Then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of margarine. Now my method of making dough is different because I'm going to use the creaming in method. I want to mix the flour and the margarine. You can use butter if you like. If you have butter, use what you have in the house. Don't go to breaking the bank to look for stuff that you do not have in the house. Make sure that you cream it in until all the flour looks like it has a sandy texture. At this point, you can add your sugar so that it creams in nicely. And we are going to require um, 2 tablespoons. Not too much sugar. We are making the normal dough that would make scones or any other pastry, and we don't want to make it overly sweet, because remember we are going to have a filling of sugar and cinnamon on the dough, so you don't require too much sugar in your preparation, in the dough preparation. It is not that it's not a tedious process, so it doesn't take long. That is what I mean, to make the dough in this creaming in method I am using. So you can see the flour has a texture, a sandy texture, kind of. You can see it. Next, I am going to add a teaspoon of salt, not too much. And then, as I've told you, we require yeast, but I don't have yeast. I'm going to use bicarbonate of soda. And to do that, I need a 3/4 cup of milk. This is about half. That is what I'm going to work with. It should be warm. And in order to have the baking soda having that raising effect yeast has, I'm going to add like a teaspoon of vinegar to my milk. So once you mix a teaspoon and a half of baking soda into your flour, make sure you mix so that it spread evenly in your flour. Then remember, we have added a teaspoon of vinegar into our fresh milk so that it can become buttermilk, and have left it for just about a minute so that it can settle. This recipe requires yeast. I don't have yeast, so that is why I am working with buttermilk. And so that I can have the wet ingredients going in together, I am going to add an egg to my milk and pour it into my flour. Remember, when a recipe requires buttermilk, you can always add a teaspoon of vinegar or a teaspoon of lemon juice. So now you're going to stir to make our dough, not duff. Kisungu sio lugha changu. And now because it's not really wet, you can try to knead with your hands. Seems the milk was not enough, so I'm going to add a bit more. Remember, if you don't have milk, you can still use water, but the milk gives it a creamy taste. I'm just going to add some cold milk now, milk at room temperature. Not too much, because remember, we don't want to make the dough really smooth or wet. We want like a chapati kind of dough. If you find that you have added too much milk or too much liquid, you can always add a bit of flour so that you can get your bread dough in the right texture. I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to use this surface around here. Put some flour until, make sure to knead it until it is completely smooth. It can roll when you roll it, because we are going to roll it to make the rolls. Remember, it doesn't require a lot of time. Mine is taking some time because the milk was half a cup. What the milk I started with, it should be 3/4 a cup. I underestimated that small packet. I thought it was half a cup, 3/4 a cup. The more you knead it, the more it starts to become smooth. I can feel it in my hands becoming smooth and soft. So the more you knead, the more the gluten spreads and becomes elastic. So do not be afraid to knead. Even when making chapati, you should knead it until the dough is smooth. Don't keep adding water or milk or whatever liquid. As long as all the flour has been absorbed by the liquid, just keep kneading, keep kneading, keep kneading. It will be smooth along the way. It will be elastic along the way. And that is what is happening here. I like what it is turning out to be. Can you see that? Smooth, soft, just from kneading. I'm already even becoming sweaty from the kneading. This is a workout, my friends. A real workout. how smooth it has become. I love it. It was giving me some headache before, but it is on track now. There we go. So once you're done kneading, make it into a ball. Leave it in a bowl to rest for a few minutes. Some people leave it for 5 minutes. If you have used yeast, you may need to leave it to rest for about 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. So it is up to you to decide how long you're going to leave it to rest. Since I've used baking soda, I don't want to wait for it to rest for too long, so I'm going to leave it here for 30 minutes. Cover it with a cling foil and leave it to rest. I don't have a cling foil, so I'm going to use a kitchen towel and cover it with a plate. And after 30 minutes, we'll see what the outcome is. As we wait for our dough to rest for the 30 minutes, we can be preparing the filling of the cinnamon rolls, and that is what we require is sugar. Brown sugar is the best. I have something close here, not really brown. And your sweet tooth is the one that is going to save you from the amount of sugar you can use, or you can use as much as you want or as little as you want. It's up to you entirely. I don't want too much sugar, so I used like how much was that? I didn't even count. Those were like 3 or 4 tablespoons. Then we are going to require 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. That's my cinnamon. I don't know what's your favorite brand, but that's my cinnamon. That was 1 tablespoon and another one. So you see, when you're baking this, it will smell so nice in the house, and the cinnamon tastes so good in your baked dishes. I feel like adding some more. The sugar is too much. About a teaspoon. That's what I added. So this will be our filling. You'll see how I'll do it, and we'll also use some margarine. But I want to spread the margarine on the dough, so that I then spread the cinnamon mix. Yeah, see you as we make the rolls. Our 30 minutes are gone, and look at our dough. It's becoming hollow to the touch, so that means it's ready. It's ready to be rolled. So we remove it from the basin, divide it into workable portions, rollable portions. And remember, your oven should be preheating at 180 degrees. 180 degrees for, I preheat my oven at 20 minutes. Sometimes I am one of those who are very poor in following recipes. Sometimes I preheat it for 15 minutes or 10. But it still bakes fine. So we are going to roll this and make it into our rolls. When you're making this kind of dough, be ready for a gym kind of session, because the kneading, the rolling, I don't know, I find it too much work for me. It could be the best job for you, I don't know. For me, it gets me panting and sweaty. I guess I'm overweight. Yeah, but what do you expect from eating all these goodies that I bake? I should be overweight. So the aim is to roll a rectangle, or yeah, a rectangle is workable. That is our aim here. And it shouldn't be too thin. At least about 1 inch, 2 inches. Keep rolling until you get the desired effect. I think that should do. It's not really a square, a rectangle as I wanted it, but I will work with this. So the next thing should be to spread the margarine. I don't know if it will spread, yeah. If you have butter, remember I said it's the best thing. But if you don't have butter, work with what you have. Yeah. Some of these items, getting them in the village, you have to travel like 1 hour or yeah, about 2 hours to go to a town where you get butter. Yeah, sometimes in the local supermarket they are not there. So then spread your sugar with the cinnamon. And be generous. So after making a roll, I am cutting the smaller rolls so that I can transfer them to the baking sheet. You know, after spreading the margarine or butter, and then spreading the cinnamon roll mixture, you cut them into fat rolls and then transfer them into a baking sheet. I don't want to apply butter on my baking sheet, so I'm just going to use parchment paper. That should work. If you don't want to make use of to smear butter or margarine, a parchment paper comes in handy. Make sure to leave some space for, I will show you in the camera. I know I'm out of focus right now because of my space in the kitchen. So as you can see, I am leaving space for it to raise, so it will occupy all the space. I'm gonna have to cut this parchment paper too big for my baking sheet. See, I'm going to fill up the rest of the space. So you come back to your remaining chunk and roll it with sugar all over. So our oven is preheating, it's almost ready. Remember to make it into a rectangle, because a circle won't do it. A rectangle is the best. I think that should do. Spread margarine. Spread margarine. And then generously add your cinnamon mix, cinnamon and sugar mix. Be generous. I'm making this for a 13-year-old, and he loves sugary stuff. So once in a while, I give him a treat. Just be generous with the spread. So we are going to roll. This is what I've been doing. And voila. Do that and cut into small rolls. I'm getting better as I go. My first batch was I was very slow when chopping this, cutting this. With every skill in the kitchen, you get better as you go by. So practice makes perfect. And this will go onto the baking sheet. My oven is small. There is the bell. The oven is ready. I'm going to extend for another 10 minutes before I finish. This should rest. This will go later. We'll go into the oven later. This should rest for some time so that you give it time to raise. So I'm going to, as our oven continues to preheat, I'm going to cover them so that they can raise. And then when the bell of the oven goes, they will go into the oven for 15 minutes. See you in about 10 minutes time as we transfer them into the oven. Our 10 minutes are up, and as you can see, they have doubled in size. Yeah, they're not the same. They're not the original size when I was cutting them. And I'm just going to put this in the oven. Forgive my space, it's very small, but it doesn't stop me from baking or enjoying baking. So we're just going to leave them here for 15 to 20 minutes. And we can have our tea with fresh cinnamon rolls. There they are. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing my cinnamon rolls without yeast. They just came fresh from the oven. They're still hot and the house smells heavenly. You have no excuse to say that you don't have yeast in the house so you cannot make cinnamon rolls. There they are. We are going to enjoy this with African cup of tea. I hope you you followed the recipe well, and you can make your cinnamon rolls at home and enjoy with whatever beverage you want to. I've made several of these, so we are definitely not going to finish them today. Some will be for snacking for the rest of this week. Until next time, I've been yours truly, Ginny the Village Girl. Join me next time for another exciting recipe in my small kitchen. And we'll have fun, and we'll feed our taste buds with all the divine tastes this kitchen can produce. Until next time, bye bye. Subscribe to my channel, share my content, and ask your friends to subscribe. Happy Mother's Day to all you beautiful mothers out there.